All right, mindful nerd moment for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, we actually ended up talking about this tonight, which I'm not surprised about, but I kept being struck by how desperately the Ninja Turtles wanted to be liked and loved,
Hmm.
and then I kept thinking about when they are fighting Superfly and they're like, finally, people are going to, they see us, they're going to love us because we're heroes. And then they look up. I don't know if it was Times Square, but it was a Times Square esque video screen and it showed the news and it was
Hmm.
saying that they were with Superfly and one of the bad guys. And they were like, oh my God, they think, I think one of them said, like, they think we're villains. And someone else was like, worse, they think we're monsters. And so I was just thinking about that moment and how relatable I feel like that can be to all of us
Yeah.
about just that realization that what you've desperately been trying for has just fallen apart.
Yeah.
And how to use mindfulness in that moment to keep going. Because that's actually the turning point for them, where they say, okay, they don't love us like we want. What do we do now? So, yeah, I thought we would do some mindfulness in that moment.
Sounds good.
All right. So, sitting straight but comfortably, you can close your eyes or just soften your gaze, not looking at anything in particular, and pay attention to your breath. There's no right or wrong way. Try not to worry about how you're breathing or trying to adjust it in any way, just noticing what your breath is like and focusing in on your breathing in and out as a way to focus in on this mindful nerd moment. And when you're ready, I want you to imagine that you are one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Pick whichever one feels right to you in this moment. And just take in what it's like to be that Ninja Turtle. Your hard shell, your you got less fingers than you might have had before when you were human. And you have been fighting Superfly. You're finally out in the open and you feel there's this fear, there's this energy, there's you're overwhelmed, there's a lot going on, and but also a part of you is excited because finally you're out here. And not only are you out, but you're being a hero. People are going to have to love you. And so you're walking around with your brothers and you're figuring out what comes next to fight Superfly because you're new at this, so you're having a little trouble, but you're talking about it, and then one of you looks up and you look at the news playing on the side of a building. And it says that you are actually with Superfly and that you are one of the things destroying the city. And you just feel something drop in your stomach. You feel nauseous. You feel fear. You feel desperate. This all you want is to be liked, to be loved, to be accepted. What do I do? What can I do to make them like me? And then it just keeps getting more and more and more and more intense, and it's almost like you're leaving your body. There's too much happening, and then your arm brushes against the arm of one of your brothers, and you take that moment to just focus in on that feeling, and it helps ground you a bit. And you realize, okay, what I'm doing is not helping right now. So you take a really deep breath and just take in as much air as you possibly can. You feel your stomach hit the edge of your shell in front of you. You hold your breath for a moment and then you let it out. All of it out, letting all that air leave. And you take another deep breath, filling in your lungs once again until your stomach starts hitting your shell. You know those lungs are all the way full. You hold it for a moment and then you let it all the way out. You feel your feet on the ground, your bare feet hitting the pavement, and you notice what that feels like. You notice what the air of the city feels like, the smell of the city, the sound, everything. You notice everything because it's different than in the sewers. and you just try and feel the rhythm of everything around you, being a part of it until you, okay, things start leveling out a bit. And you realize, you know what? I can't control what's on that news screen. And you feel disappointment, you say, okay, I'm feeling disappointment. And then you let that feeling pass by. I'm feeling sad. And you let that pass by. Maybe you're feeling angry. Let that pass by. And then you notice yourself thinking, what's the point? I tried everything and they don't care. You notice that thought. And then you let it pass by. And then you look to your brothers, and it's almost as if you all got to the same point at the same time. Yeah, we want them to love us and to accept us. But at the end of the day, we care. So we're going to help them anyway. Figure out your next step. All right, I want you to get a big group hug with your brothers because that was a rough moment. Feel that intense hug. Feel those arms around you. Pat each other on the back. You're doing what matters to you, and you're going to get through it as best you can. And then when you're ready, step back and feel yourself transform from a turtle, I guess a human-like turtle, back into a full human. And when you're ready, we will wrap up the mindful nerd moment. So how was that for you?
I really like that. With mindfulness, even though these are definitely fictional situations that happen in these shows
Mm,
and movies and comics and everything, one of the things that's always so interesting about it is how well it can always correlate to something
yes.
in the real world. Like, yeah, I might not be running at super speed around the world like the Flash, but I can jog down the street. Like in
Yep.
and so this was one of those things like, yeah, my face isn't up on Times Square as a wanted criminal, but I've definitely tried my hardest to get an A on a test and gotten an F. Right. And
Mm,
so
yep.
it
Or maybe
is
someone sees you as the villain in their story,
right.
even though you've done your best to be there for them.
Right. And so yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those things. It's like, as a teacher, sometimes lesson plans that you think are just gonna be phenomenal,
Yep.
just crash and burn. And
Sometimes as a therapist, you think you nailed it, and then they're like, no.
right,
You're not even listening.
right,
Dang it.
right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
we all have those moments. You're right. It's so interesting. The mindfulness moments are actually I do love that because it really helps you realize like, wow,
that's a
these
thing.
writers and these illustrators do
Yeah.
such a good job of relating something that seems completely
Un-
unrelatable, relating it to every day.
right. And it's like, yeah, and it's what I love about comic books, about movies, about television. It's that. And it's funny because there's so often we have like people that are just like, keep politics out of comics and movies and stuff like that, or keep this particular subject matter out of it. And it's like, but these mediums have always been a direct reflection
Yeah.
of our society. And it's like, why wouldn't you go into talking about that? The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are teenagers in high school that just want to be accepted. They don't want to
Mhm.
be outcasts. They want to be the cool kids. They want to be popular. They want to have friends. They want to get invited to parties. And all of us have felt that